Hello there and welcome. My name is Jimmy Wikman and I'm an Atlassian expert. In this video we're going to talk about the changes Atlassian have made to the product updates section that you have in Atlassian Administration. And it is one where I want to give both a little bit of praise but a whole lot of complaints as well. And I've been holding out for this one because I have been a little bit frustrated with the way Atlassian handle product updates and release notes for cloud for quite a while. And I'm going to dig into all of those in this video. So before I jump right into showing you exactly what they've done, let me just give you a little bit of background here. So Atlassian have in the past they only had one of their blogs basically that they have in Confluence where they had a weekly update. So they have the Atlassian Cloud changes and it came out every week. And then they started last year to create now a new section in your administration part where you actually have them product updates in Atlassian Administration. And the first thing that I noticed when they did this was they were not in sync, and they are still not in sync. And the second thing is that the output that they actually provide is very poor, or not very poor. It is poor, not very poor, but it has a lot of potential to improve. And the reason why I say that one is because I come also from a background where I worked a lot with data center. And in data center, you have the traditional way of presenting release notes. It's very upfront, very detailed, and you can get a lot of information of every change that happens. And that is very important because for me, then, who works as an Atlassian administrator on a daily basis, if I'm not in control of what is actually being rolling out, then how am I supposed to actually how should I could possibly handle that one when my customer come and then say, or my users come and say, what is this new change? I didn't like it. How are we supposed to work with this? And I have no clue what they are talking about because I haven't received any information about it. And this happens even with the release notes and even with the product updates and even with the weekly cloud changes. There are still things in there that they don't actually tell anyone. They just happen. That is a big, big problem. And as an Atlassian administrator, if you can't keep up with what is actually happening in your platform, or the platform that you are responsible for, rather, because it's not your platform, it's a SaaS product, then that's a huge issue. And that is something I think Atlassian, I think Atlassian really needs to take this one seriously. Because as I'm now digging into, and I'm spending about an hour every day going through every single release notes, and I see a lot of things that are incomplete, that are inconsistent, and that is plain wrong and missing. And that is very concerning for me. But let me show you, let me just not sit here and talk about it. Let's jump into Atlassian Administration and show you the new layout. And then explain a little bit about what I think is good and what I think is bad. And then I'm going to show you a little bit of the frustration that I'm having. So let's jump over to Jira and show you. So here we are now in the product updates. And if you don't know where to find it, it is located here on the products. And if you click on products, let me open this one. It is then in product updates. This is where you will find it. And what we used to have was a list, a daily list, basically all the changes that actually happened. So it wasn't that it was something new that came out. It could also be that they updated the status for something, or that they changed the description, or anything else like that. And what they have now is the opposite then. You have a list basically of, you publish something, it's kind of like a blog. You publish something and you will never see if anything changes in it ever again. So you will have a list here that will show you then basically the product updates. It comes and you can filter this one just like before on product, on status, and change type. We're going to talk a little bit about change type later, but first let's take a look at this list here. So as you can see here, there are a few things that are purple. Very faint distinction here. These are the things that I've looked at. The ones are in blue are the ones that I haven't looked at yet. And I waited a couple of days just to show you how poorly this one is done from a visual perspective. Because if you have poor eyesight, or if you are having any issues with your eyesight, for example, if I take off my goggles or my glasses, I won't be able to see this difference. So to rely on link color as indicator if something is new, that is the worst UI you can ever have. That is, you should never ever have this one for a list, especially not where it is something that is business critical for me to actually understand what is new, what do I need to pay attention to. So the first thing they need to fix here is to make sure that you have an indicator here to say that this one is new, this one we have published. And the second thing you can see then is the headlines here: product, release note, status, change type, and rollout schedule. You have nothing when this one was published. So you have no idea when it was published, unless it is one of these here, where you can see January 8th. That is presumably today. And that is actually not true either, because you have plenty of things down here that says it was published on a certain date, but it actually was published like a week before. So these dates you cannot trust. This is the schedule. This is an arbitrary number or arbitrary date that they have put in. And anytime you have somewhere between January and February 2025, for example, that is fine. I know that sometimes in this time period will roll out great information, but when did you actually publish this one? Have I looked at this one? Do I know what this one is? There are 1,593 items in this list. I'm not going to go through every week or every day to see if I have missed something somewhere, because these two, for example, they are higher up than the ones below here. So January 8th here, for some reason, this one, there's no really way to actually filter to see what happened last week or what happened yesterday. So it's very difficult for me to keep track. And when you have no indicators whatsoever, if this one is new or not, then I'm very likely to miss something. And if I miss something, that could be a disaster for me, for example. So this is the first thing, that visually it's very difficult to understand what in the heck has happened and what do I need to pay attention to, because this one does not have that functionality in my opinion. And the second thing is these statuses here, coming soon, and that one is what I would like to have for everything. And I would like to have it because if I want to, because they know when they're going to build something. Nothing that they build will take a day to build, hopefully, or maybe it does, and then it's just a small fix, then it's okay. But anytime you have something big, a new feature that comes out, or if it is something that could potentially be, like you have down here, removed, that requires me to do a bunch of investigation to see what impact do we have on this one, and do I need to make a guide for it? Do I need to make some videos for it internally? Do I need to plan some training for it? So getting this one, an announcement here, coming soon. And this one was now published in January, and it's released in January. So at the most, I would have like 29 days to actually do anything about it. That is a little bit difficult when you get that kind of announcement. So if you are like me, you don't actually like to have things published after they actually have been released, then you need to turn on so you actually have control over your releases. So you can have the cadence set yourself for a monthly release. But even then, it's very difficult because you can get one of these at the last day of January, and the cadence is still every month. So you might still publish things that you have no idea that they were actually introduced. So the whole cadence of releases, I think, is really, really bad from a term of presenting information in advance. And I also think that these change types here, they are a little bit weird. And I'm going to tell you why. Because you can see most of them are improvement. And you also have announcement. And I don't know what an announcement is. because if this one is released, you can see this one actually came out in December. And this one, because it is before these. And if you get an announcement, what is the difference between an announcement and coming soon? Because coming soon means that it is an announcement that we will start delivering something soon. So how can something be an announcement and rolling out at the same time? Is this not an improvement then? There are inconsistencies between the statuses, and I don't understand the logic between them. I understand, for example, if you do an experiment here, why are you releasing that into production? You don't experiment with my production environment. So the statuses, they have to be more consistent, and they have to be more clear. Exactly what are you doing? Because an experiment I should be able to opt out from. I should not be forced to do experimentation in my production environment, especially not if it is for something critical like support, for example, that can affect my customers. I also think that it is good that they are, I did a video 1 or 2 years back about when they remove things and they don't actually mark it out, and that this is actually a discrepancy, that they actually delete things, they remove functionality for you. This is something that needs to come out a lot sooner. If you are going to remove something, I probably need to investigate to see if I could have integrations that are pending on this functionality. That will take a lot of time for me to actually rebuild, potentially. So this has to be very clearly marked out, and these has to be very announced a long time ahead, so I actually have time to do anything about it. And today there is no how should I put it? I cannot subscribe to things that are destructive. So if I want to see everything that is removed, I want to have an email 3 months ahead of time when something is removed. There's no option for it. I have no means of actually doing that. So we look here, status here. So we have plan coming soon, rolling out, roll complete. Those are fine, and I don't see any problem with that. But then you have the change type. And change type, for me who has been working quite a lot with changes, there is nothing called announcement as a change type. That is not a change type of any kind. Improvement is not really a change type either, but I understand this is improvement to an existing functionality. It's not a new feature. A fix means it's a bug or it's an incident that have somehow made it in. I would like to see those very clearly separated so I can see what kind of bug fixes do you actually push out. And I have yet to see any of the bug fixes that actually are reported, and there are thousands of them. None of them is ever in here, so I don't know what a fix is and who the fix is for. So it would be a correction of some kind, because it's not a bug fix. So I don't really understand what the fix is. And remove does not, it should be marked very more clearly so I can actually see it. I would love to see some icons here so I quickly can filter through them. And I would also like to see, instead of having them up here, I would like to have it here, so I can actually filter on it directly here. I'll take it from here. But, for example, an improvement, that should be for an existing functionality, an existing feature. So it's a small fix or a small change. If you have a brand new feature, for example, if you are changing, adding a new functionality for security, for example, that is a completely different attention I need to put into it. And also if you have things like, let's see, UI changes, for example, that's not an improvement. That is a UI change. That is something that will mess my customers and my users up a lot, because the way they are working are suddenly now changing because things are moving. Those need to be marked out very clearly, because I need to check those out very carefully to make sure that I understand what the impact is. Because I know, as a designer, I've been working as a designer for 20 years, I know that sometimes you think that this is just a small change. Yeah, but it can mess up a complete workflow, and it can cost a large organization hundreds, if not thousands of hours before they get used to actually the new way of doing things. They might need to rewrite their entire manuals and things like that. So change type, you need to have. Announcement, I don't think is something that you need to have, because status already is here and you already have planned on coming soon. Those are announcements that you are saying that these are things that we are planning to do, or they are soon to be released. You need to add, improvement is fine, fix. If it is actually bug fix, then type out bug fix, because a fix, that is actually a type of change that you're making, not, and I mean that in the change log to an existing. It's an improvement and you screwed something up and now you're adjusting it again. That is actually within the same improvement. You need to have UI here, so I know that's a UI. And I would also like to see if it is something related to security, for example, or legal, because they are very, very important for me to actually understand what it is. So change type today feels like something someone just threw together and just to have something. And I think these should be iterated on and made better. And preferably have some icons to them, so I actually know. You have colors now for the statuses, but change type could be good to have also an icon for it. That was the list. Other than that, I think that the product is marked out very clearly here. I think that you can see that it's multiple ones, and if you hover over them, you can actually see which ones. I think that this is great. One thing I could potentially want is to have, so you can actually fold it out and just get a quick glance of it, so you don't have to jump into the next page all the time just to see what was this. And an indicator here is crucial to know what has actually changed. Okay, so let's jump into one of these. And it's super slow since the new update, just so you're aware. Sometimes I have to wait up to 10 seconds before a page actually loads. And that is also if I go back to the product updates and try to change the page here. This one can also take up to 10 seconds. Now it's much faster, so I'm assuming it has been detected and they are improving it. But just so you're aware, it can take a lot of time. So in this information page here, this is where you get the information. This is basically the release note for this change or for this product update. So the first thing, you always now today have to click this button if you want to keep it updated on this one. And I think this is great. I think it's good that they have this one. And they also have the same information here as they have on the list, kind of. But what they don't have here is a change log. So I have so far in 2024, I had like 100, perhaps, no, maybe not 100, 50, let's say 50. Where you actually had the title here, changed. Which means that if I'm looking for something, if I note it down, this is the release notes or the product update that I actually want to keep track of, and I'm searching for it, it won't show up. And because they have changed the name for it. They are also very bad at actually adding the product name or the product names into it. So sometimes you can have duplicates with similar names. And that is also confusing and not very good. But this part is the one that I'm most concerned about, because this one is they are fiddling around with this one. So they update this one quite a lot, and they add new text to it or they add new images to it. And I don't get, if I don't have this one, if I do this, I have zero opportunity. There's no way for me to actually know that something has happened here. There's no indicator on the list. So if I go here, there is absolutely zero chance for me to know that someone have changed or altered the text or uploaded new images or videos or anything like that. I have zero opportunity to actually know that this has happened. And this should be updated here, that a change has occurred to this one. So I can choose if I want to go in and look at this one or not. But if you have this one, you will get emails. And if you're like me, you're following everyone, then you will get 10, 15 of these every week. Because they are changing or adding new things all the time. Or they are changing the status of this one for everyone that have a longer period. Which is less now this year at least. But here I would like to see a tab here that says change log, so I can see a record of what have you actually changed here. So I can see that you have updated the text, for example, or that you have added an image. And that was one of my greatest beefs last year, and that they did not have basically any visuals. They had no videos. They have no instructions about this one whatsoever. And now they have actually, from I would say November, December last year and to this year, they have started to add images. So that's a good thing. That's a very good thing. I like that one, because if you are getting one of these updates and you see that, okay, from the description it's not very clear where this one is done, or I cannot really visualize it myself, then what you want is some image that can tell you what will this actually look like, so I actually have an idea of what I can expect. Because otherwise you have to wait and you actually get it into your product, and then it's too late. Then you have no idea if this is good or bad, or if there's something you need to do about it. So always update this one, and I like that they have these links, and this is also excellent. And as you can see, this one is fairly fleshed out. Let me see if I have someone with a little bit less. These are also fairly long. Some of them are just 2 lines, like this. And that's not a release note. That's basically nothing at all, unless you can actually provide some more information. And for those of you who followed me last year when I did my weekly updates, you can see that sometimes I had no clue what they were talking about, because the description was so vague and they had no images, there was no links, there was no way for me to actually know where this is happening. And this is also one thing I would like to have. So you can see, for example, if you have this one, a new feature that will save you time by copying blah blah. Yeah, but give me a link to where this one actually happens. Why should I have to chase this one in my product? It would be easy to just say that on this page, this is where it happens. Or if there are multiple areas, give me multiple links. Even if they don't exist yet within my product, if the URL changes, for example, or this is a new feature, still give me the link, so when it is there, I very quickly can go from this product update to where it actually has been updated. That should not be very hard to do anywhere you have an update that actually is on a screen. And not all of them are on a screen. Some of them are in different ways. And if you can't do that, make a video or upload an image, so I at least can see what you're talking about. Now, just to show you a little bit how inconsistent this is. So I can very easily follow this one, and it's fine if they just give me one of those small features so I can see what's actually new, and also so I can see what is the one actually published, and then give me a little list here of the change logs. So published, text updated, image added, blah blah blah. So I can actually see it. So if you think of what you have in Confluence, for example, you can easily see the change log there for this one. And that one should not be very difficult to add to this one. So if we have that one, but let's see now, I would like to search for release notes. So if I search for this one, for example, right now everything is broken. I think this is, I mean, yeah, it has all just been the holidays here. So yeah, okay, fine, maybe you screwed something up. But cannot return null for non-nullable field. You can't have missed this one. If you did any testing whatsoever before you released this one should be the first thing that you noticed. And this one has been there for quite a while now. But if it worked, if I took something from the Atlassian, this is the cloud changes now, the recent one. If I would like to have this one, and I would like to search for this one, let's just do this, and we can make as many as we can, 100. And let's just search on the page. Now, within the last 100 records, that dates back then to November 24th, this change that they have here does not exist. I don't know about you, but I think this page confuses me more than it actually helps me. Because I think this one is still using the old way. So any change that has actually happened since the last update, since the last blog post here, they will be here. Even though nothing has actually changed since they released this one or put it one on. This one, I'm assuming, I can actually check this one. Oh, sorry, I can go to my page here. If you are looking for a place where you can actually discuss the release notes, by the way, I actually have it here. I started building a database for it, for product updates. The idea here is to have all the changes here. I will add all of them here over the year. Oh, sorry, I want to search. So this one does not even exist in my database yet. So this one was probably way before October that this one was rolled out, because I've only updated like 417 updates here. And in the list here we have, what did we say, 1,500? Yeah, 1,593. So when I've done these, and I've stopped doing them now because there's no point, because all of these that are rolling out, they have been here for weeks and months. They just haven't been really rolled out yet. And the only one that actually makes any sense to look at is new this week. So this one has been now created in the last week. So if I go back here and I search for them, then I can actually find it here. And this one was done on January 7th, so that one makes sense. But this list, the weekly updates, or actually it actually the Atlassian Cloud changes. Why does it have all the things that have been updated and not just the things that have been published? This list is, if you check the scroll bar here on the side, this one goes on forever. And if you look at how many of these are actually new this week, you'll see I have 3. 1, 2, 3. Those are the only 3 things that were actually new this week. Everything else was just updated, either with some new text, either with some new data in it, but there was nothing new in them. They had been published before. And this is what I think is a big problem for the Atlassian, because I cannot trust that the information that they put out, that I get all the information I need to do my job as an administrator. And the information I get is often very, very little, not a lot of. So this one, for example, now you can easily choose a color or an attachment, upload a new card cover. Select the action menu on the bottom right and choose edit cover. Why not add an image for it? Because choosing a color is not what you think. It's not that you can choose any color you want. It is that you can choose one of the 24. And that is very different information for me than that I can choose a color, because choosing a color indicates there is no limitation in that phrasing. And this is all the time. You see here, we have two here. You might see a new button. I love that. What does that mean? Does it mean that some of my customers will see it? And if so, which ones? How should I plan for something like this? So I'm ranting a little bit, but I'm a little bit frustrated. For someone who follows these product updates every day, at least 1 hour every day, I dig into these and try to figure out what are they and what they are actually doing. And the inconsistency that comes from this one, and the fact that I still get curveballs with things that are not here. They are not published here. Some of them are actually published here, but not here, and the opposite. And some of them is not published anywhere. And there's no actual roadmap, because the roadmap that you have in here, maybe I shouldn't have. So if you have this one, 99% of the things that you will actually see being released is not here, because these are the big features, not actually the release notes, or the actual releases. So this is a roadmap of things that they are going to do, but only new things. So anything that is an improvement, and you can probably tell that most of the things that are improvement here, they are not in the roadmap. So when it comes to, for me to plan my actual work, and to understand what is actually going to happen in the next 3 to 6 months, I'm screwed, because I can only see the big fishes. And some of these things are very small in terms of what kind of change is happening, but they have big impact on me and my customers or my users. So I think that Atlassian need to take this one seriously, because if you want to have a serious conversation about what is actually coming out, this is not cutting it. This is not good enough. Even if I have this one on a different cadence so I can actually plan, this still doesn't work, because I cannot make an assessment of things if they are not in the release notes, if they're not here in the product updates, and if they are not presented beforehand, so I actually know what is actually happening. And I need more details. I cannot spend an eternity, like you saw probably on Team 24 there. They are releasing like thousands of changes every year. They have 1,500, 1,600 almost here. And that is probably just halfway through last year. So how am I supposed to plan my work, and how am I going to keep my customers and my users updated on all these changes? And how can I tailor my trainings and my instructions based on all of this? I do not have an organization that can spend 10,000 hours every month doing this manually, and I cannot have people that are going to investigate every time something comes out. So my wish for 2025 is that they will take what they have done here now, which is a good update. I think this one is easier to overlook than what you had before. It was very confusing to have like 25 different things that actually isn't new, but they just had updated something in it. And having a more strict like this one. But I need to have, when was it published? When was it announced that this change was happening? And also, I need to say change log in here. What have you updated? And I need to be aware of the update. I shouldn't have to get 30 emails just to keep track of all the changes. This should be in here. I should get just a summary each day and saying, these are the changes that happened yesterday. We updated this text, we changed this title, we added a new image. Very easy. So, that was my little rant for today. First and foremost, good job on the first update for this one. Actually get a list that is easier to overlook. Now please take the next steps, and I understand that the changes that I want you to make will have an impact on your infrastructure, because you need to be able to set here then on every user that you have, and you have a lot of users, and every user needs to have their own indicator to see, have you, specifically you, actually have this update or not? Have you seen this one? But if you are looking at how communities work, that's not a problem. Just look at what they are doing and do the same thing that they are doing. Give me an indicator so I can see this one is new, or there has been a change, there has been an update. So I can actually keep track of things. And give me the option also to not just filter on rollout schedule, but also filter on publication date, so I can see what was actually released yesterday, or what has been released the last 7 days, so I can keep track of what I can expect in my next update, for example, if I have my own rollout cadence. So that was that. Do you have any opinion of your own? Do you think this, I'm just a cranky old man? I know I am, but do you think that's all it is? Or is there validity to what I'm saying? Then please sign off in the comments. And I guess I should take a deep breath and just end this one like I always do, and hope that you will have a great week and an awesome day.